In the lively city of London, during the month of April, a group of 30 pilgrims gathered at the Tabard Inn. They were preparing for a journey to the shrine of St. Thomas Becket in Canterbury. As they waited for their departure, the innkeeper Harry Bailey suggested that each pilgrim share a tale to pass the time on their long journey. The pilgrims came from various backgrounds and occupations, representing different social classes. Let's explore detailed descriptions of some of the most memorable characters. The knight, accompanied by his son, the squire, and a yeoman. The knight was a noble and honourable figure who personified chivalry. He had fought in 15 religious battles and had a distinguished reputation. He wore armour that showed signs of wear and oil, symbolising his years of service. He told the story of two Greek noblemen, Palamon and Arcite, who duel for the love of Emilia. The squire, the knight's son, the squire, was a young and energetic man known for his good looks, curly hair, and fashionable attire. He was passionate about love and chivalry, composing songs and poems to impress the ladies. He spent his free time singing, dancing, and playing the flute. He shared an oriental tale of a falcon talking to Canace about her husband's adultery. The prioress, named Eglantine, meaning sweet briar, the prioress was a graceful and dignified nun. She wore a veil and a brooch with the Latin inscription, Amor vincit omnia, love conquers all. Fluent in French and possessing impeccable manners, she emphasized her refinement and devotion. She had a fondness for her small dogs, caring for them more than human beings. She was overly sentimental, shedding tears at the sight of a dead mouse. Her singing had a fashionable nasal tone, and she swore fashionably by the oath of St. Loy. She was accompanied by 3 priests and a nun. The monk, a robust man with a bald, shiny head and anointed face, the monk exuded masculinity. His sleeves were adorned with expensive fur, and he wore a cloak fastened with a golden brooch. His bright, rolling eyes sparkled like a furnace. He disregarded the strict rules of monastic life, favoring hunting, fine horses, good food, and fashionable clothing. His favorite dish was roasted swan, and his greyhounds were as swift as birds. The friar. Contrary to the traditional image of a humble friar, this friar was a jovial and charming man. He had a knack for persuading people to confess their sins and was well dressed. He carried a pouch filled with pins and pocket knives to distribute as gifts to young wives. He was more interested in the love affairs of young people and was better acquainted with barmaids and tavern owners than with beggars and lepers. He played the fiddle and sang well, and his athletic physique was complemented by a neck as white as a lily. He lisped effectively to make his English sound sweeter. His name was Hubert. The pardoner, a religious figure who sold indulgences, promising forgiveness of sins. The pardoner was also a skilled storyteller and a beautiful hymn singer. He had long, greasy, yellow hair and a beardless face, suggesting a possible homosexual inclination. His wallet was filled with fake pardons, and he boasted a collection of counterfeit relics. He even claimed to possess the Veil of Mary, which was actually a pillowcase.
The summoner, the pardoner's companion, the summoner was responsible for summoning individuals to church courts. Children were afraid of his fiery red face, covered in pimples, and his scaly eyebrows. He was lustful, dishonest, and had a fondness for garlic, onions, leeks, and blood-red wine. He often spouted Latin phrases and was known for his corrupt practices. The parson was an exemplary parish priest, known for his piety and dedication to his duties. He was gentle, diligent, and patient in the face of adversity. He preached only what he practiced and saw himself as a simple shepherd aiming to save the souls of his flock. He always pondered the saying, "If gold rusts, what will iron do?"
The Clerk of Oxford was deeply dedicated to the pursuit of philosophy. Both he and his horse were extremely thin in appearance. Despite his poverty, he wore worn-out clothing and chose to possess only 20 books instead of worldly possessions. Any money he received from friends was spent solely on acquiring more books. He had a strong desire to learn and teach, and he maintained a polite demeanor, speaking only when necessary. The clerk's tale served as a response to the wife of Bath's tale and revolved around the patient and virtuous wife, Griselda.
Moving on to the merchant, he was a prosperous businessman with a distinctive forked beard. He adorned himself in lavish and colorful clothing, including a hat from Holland. Despite his outward appearance, no one suspected that he was burdened with heavy debts. The merchant was recently married and unhappy, and he tells the tale of January and May. Next, we have the man of law, also known as the sergeant of law. He possessed great wisdom and maintained a slightly suspicious nature. His knowledge of the law was extensive, as he could recite statutes dating back to the time of William the Conqueror. The man of law often served as a judge in the court of assizes, and he appeared busier than he actually was. He wore a multicolored coat fastened with a silk belt and adorned with small pins. Accompanying the man of law was the franklin, a wealthy and cheerful gentleman farmer. His white beard resembled a daisy, and he enjoyed starting his mornings with wine and pieces of bread or cake. Due to his love for pleasure, he earned the epithet son of Epicurus. The franklin was known for his generous hospitality, often compared to St. Julian. His house was abundantly stocked with meat, wine, fat partridges, and various fish, all varying according to the seasons. Additionally, he had experience as a sheriff and legal auditor. He carried a dagger and a hawking pouch attached to his white girdle, reminiscent of morning milk. The franklin's tale is a Breton lay. The five guildsmen are a group of artisans who represent the newly affluent urban middle class. They include a haberdasher, a carpenter, a weaver, a dyer, and a tapestry maker. Dressed in their guild uniforms, their sword sheaths were adorned with silver, and their belts and purses were exquisitely crafted. They are accompanied by their cook. The wife of Bath is a bold and gap-toothed woman who suffered hearing loss due to a slap from a previous husband. She wears expensive clothing, including a wide hat, sharp spurs, and a pleated cloak to protect her dress from mud. Her attire includes scarlet stockings and comfortable new shoes. She possesses high-quality kerchiefs and a veil that weighs a remarkable 10 pounds. Hailing from Bath, a renowned center for cloth making, the wife of Bath always aimed to be the first woman at church to make a donation to the poor. However, if another woman made a donation before her, she would become angry and withhold her own contribution. She has been married 5 times and tells the tale of a knight who is punished for raping a woman.
The physician, also known as the doctor of physique. He is a knowledgeable individual in the fields of medicine and astronomy. The physician has struck a deal with the apothecary to ensure the prescription of medicines that would benefit both of them. He is always dressed in a vibrant gown made of the finest silk, combining shades of bright red and blue. He follows a simple and moderate diet that promotes good health. However, his spiritual knowledge, particularly of the Bible, is limited.